Book Enthusiast Group. For 140417885, this book is not just a textual copy, but also includes a comprehensive mythological section. In this world, demons abound, immortals roam the world, and heroes conquer mountains and seas. Su Lu came through time and felt very flustered. I live in Sanxing City and am the richest person in the city. Not far away is Lanruo Temple, and next door is Jinshan Temple, where there is an old monk named Fahai. Next door is Lingyin Temple, where there is a living Buddha named Ji Gong. By the way, in Sanxing City, there are people who have reincarnated from the 3 stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou. What a panic! Fortunately, I have golden fingers that can reveal the items and techniques in novels through writing. Keywords of the novel. Being a novelist in the mythological world without pop-ups, being a novelist in the mythological world. Download the complete text, and read the latest chapters as a novelist in the mythological world. Chapter 1. Novelists. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Novelists. An obituary from a Chinese website. The famous platinum god Xuandong died suddenly at the age of. The twin holes of great gods have emerged in the golden age of online literature, overwhelming eagles, octopuses, and other great gods, which is impossible with the work I Love Dreaming. Platinum was achieved in one fell swoop. Afterwards, he continued to create 2 books, I Love Fantasy, and I Love Lying and Winning, which stabilized his divine character and became the famous I Love trilogy. The passing of 2 holes caused a sensation in small circles, such as a certain browser. Online novels are a daily companion for many people, and as readers, the most repulsive thing is that the author updates too slowly. However, to ensure fast updates, the novel author must sit in front of the computer for a long time and spend a lot of time brainstorming and coding. Therefore, a large number of online novel authors have some occupational diseases, such as insomnia, myomyelitis, and so on. In addition, with irregular lifestyles and less physical activity, some online authors' physical fitness is inevitably inferior to their peers. Even some internet authors passed away young. Recently, another great god-level internet author passed away young, and his name is well known throughout the world. He is the platinum great god Double Cave. Let's take a look at those internet writers who died young. In the comments section of the book, I Love Dreaming, countless readers have emerged. Double hole deity, I hope you don't dream in your next life. May the deceased rest in peace, and may heaven be free from illness and pain. The profession of online writer is also prone to sudden death, especially for full-time writers. As a full-time author, their daily routine is not very normal, and they often stay up late, which can be very harmful to their health. Although I don't know the author, I have read the book, I Love Dreaming, more than 5 times. Now that I hear the news of the author's unexpected death, I am deeply shocked and saddened. Unexpectedly hearing this news, my eyes were moist. The summer 3 years ago when I loved to dream, I will never go back. May Xuandong, in another world, uphold the invincible sword spirit and dominate the world. Heaven envies talents. Where am I traveling? Sanxing City, Su family. Sanxing City, adjacent to Hangzhou, is famous for its birth. 300 years ago, Nian Beast roamed the world, with 3 stars of fortune, wealth, and longevity descending. He fought against Nian Beast here and won the battle. After this battle, this place became a ruin, and later generations built a city here to commemorate the achievements of the 3 stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou. This is the origin of the 3-star city. The Su family is well known in Sanxing City because it is the wealthiest family in the city. The Su family has gone through 3 generations of hard work and governance, transforming from a small wealthy merchant family to the richest person in Sanxing. The contemporary head of the Su family, Su Kai Lao, was very happy to have a son. He named his son Su Lu with the intention of ensuring his lifelong peace and happiness. After filtering out the memories in his mind, Su Lu easily adapted to his current identity. He was an internet writer and a platinum god in his past life, and he did not reject things like traveling through time. In his previous life, he was just an orphan, carefree, and alone. The identity he had traveled through was that of a wealthy young master, and he even made a living. When he wrote online novels in his past life, he didn't want to code characters for 30 days a month. At that time, he thought to himself, if only I could sleep until I wake up naturally every day and count money until my hands twitch. Now he is the richest son of Sanxing City, and this wish has been fulfilled. Wait, something's wrong. Searching for the memories in his mind again, Su Lu felt something was wrong. This world is somewhat like the ancient dynasties of China, with the Yong dynasty ruling the world today. Yong dynasty, I haven't heard of it. Su Li's knowledge of history is neither good nor bad. In the 50-100-year culture of China, he had never heard of the Yong dynasty. Of course, perhaps he was ignorant and ignorant. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that in this world, demons abound, immortals and gods roam the world, ghosts and monsters appear in the world, martial artists destroy the sky and earth, and great scholars suppress the current world. To sum up, in just 7 words, this world is too dangerous. Yes, it's very dangerous. In this world, civilian deaths are almost commonplace. Not far from Sanxing City, there is a temple called Lanruo Temple, which is said to be haunted inside. In addition, Su Lu searched for many familiar people and objects from his memory, such as Ji Gong from Lingyin Temple, Fahai from Jinshan Temple, and so on. This world is too dangerous. Su Li's original good mood has disappeared. Although he comes from a wealthy family, he is at a loss when encountering ghosts, monsters, and demons. Others have traveled through time, don't they all give gold fingers as gifts? Where is my golden finger? Not yet fast and fast. Su Lu said to the air. According to ancient legends, every traveler possesses uniqueness, either receives a mysterious inheritance, or is a reincarnation of a strong individual. No matter how bad it is, one will still master the future trend and find a thigh to embrace. Of course, the most common ones are still the travelers with golden fingers, who are almost ubiquitous across the heavens and all realms. Ding, the host successfully traversed. Open the host's exclusive golden finger, Novelist. Novelist. Realizing the techniques and objects in novels through writing. The prompt sound reached Su Li's ears, making him very happy. How can a mediocre person like him survive in this dangerous world without a golden finger? He is still very self-aware, knowing that he did not do well in his past life. Even if he changed the world, he may not be able to mix up like a person. If it weren't for the golden finger, his life would still be mediocre. Exclusive golden finger, Novelist. This is quite suitable for me. Su Lu is very satisfied with this golden finger. He was an internet writer in his past life, and writing novels was his job, and he is very good at it. This golden finger can embody the items or techniques in a novel by writing it. For example, when he wrote The 8 Heavenly Dragons, he was able to demonstrate many martial arts techniques such as the 18 dragons subduing palms and the beaming divine art. For example, when he wrote The Legend of Immortal Cultivation, he was even able to reveal Han Laoma's palm heavenly vase. For example, when he wrote The Great Wilderness, he was even able to reveal the bloodline of Pangu. Of course, his golden finger also has limitations. What level of personal strength is required for him to write novels at the corresponding stage? If he were to write The Wilderness now, his head would explode. I don't know if it's possible to portray characters. If he could portray characters, he would portray all the emperors of the wilderness, the leaves, and the jars. Let the 3 of them fight each other and see who has the strongest combat power. The debate between the provincial fans of covering the sky and the fans of perfection is endless. Maybe the heavenly emperor is the most powerful. After all, this is a man who can reach his peak in just 1 chapter. In terms of upgrade speed, both Yi Tiandi and Huang Tiandi are difficult to match. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. I want to write a novel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. I want to write a novel. The young man in the bronze mirror had clear eyebrows and beautiful eyes, with a calm and indifferent expression. Wearing a blue Confucian shirt, he stood out from the crowd. You look great. Su Lu is very satisfied with his appearance in this lifetime. Throughout history, handsome people have had advantages. What handsome people do is called legend, while ugly people do the same things that others take for granted. In the mythological world, the lovers of dragon women, demon foxes, and female ghosts are usually scholars with clear eyebrows and beautiful eyes. If you look ugly, dragon maidens, demon foxes, and female ghosts don't care about you. I am a scholar in this life, and this identity suits me. In the mythological world, the identity of a scholar is very useful. All things are inferior, but reading is high. It's not that simple to say, only by studying can you become an official. The same goes for the Daong dynasty. Only by studying can you qualify for the imperial examination and then become an official. The Daong imperial examination is divided into township examination, county examination, provincial examination, and palace examination. After passing the township examination, becoming a child student has no practical benefits, but can earn the respect of others. If you can't survive in the future, you can also go to remote rural areas to teach and make a living. After passing the county examination and becoming a scholar, the scholar has a certain status, indicating that the official does not kneel and has some reputation in the local area, and can also be exempted from personal corvée. After passing the county examination and becoming a jurin, at this point, you will be called the jurin master by others, with an extremely respected status. You can become a local gentry and also have the opportunity to become an official. After passing the imperial examination, one can obtain the qualification for the imperial examination and participate in the palace examination. When it comes to the palace style, if one can achieve the top 3, they can become famous overnight and become well-known throughout the world. This world belongs to the ancient world, which emphasizes agriculture and suppresses commerce, and the status of merchants is not high. Therefore, Su Li's father Su Kai hopes that his son can pass the imperial examination and honor his ancestors. However, he didn't put too much pressure on Su Lu either. If he could learn, he would learn, but if he couldn't, he would be fine. Su Liding is very energetic and has passed the township and county exams one after another. Now he is a scholar. I cannot slack off and strive to pass the imperial examination. Su Lu secretly made up his mind. The current literati are not simple. Some scholars are able to comprehend the literary spirit, gather the literary heart and courage, have a bright tongue, and paint the ground as a prison. As the saying goes, a scholar raises his pen and talks on paper, kill the enemy with one's might, speak eloquently. The Jinshan became angry and engaged in verbal violence. The arrival of the sage leads to verbal and written condemnation, which can lead to the execution of people and the judgment that the emperor has no way. It is an enemy country. It is precisely because of the suppression of Confucian scholars and dragon chi that demons and monsters dare not appear in public. It is only today that Emperor Yong was foolish and pursued the path of immortality, which led to the plight of the people, resulting in the emergence of demons and ghosts in the world. There is no harm in reading. As long as you win the imperial examination and establish a strong foundation, living a moderately prosperous life will not be a problem. It would be even better if one could comprehend the essence of literature, consolidate the literary spirit and courage. Su Lu woke up and someone came to visit. Entering was a middle-aged man with a wealthy appearance, a beer belly, and a gorgeous robe. His gaze towards Su Lu was tense. He is Su Li's father and also the richest man in Sanxing City. I've seen my father, I've seen my mother. Seeing the middle-aged couple entering, Su Lu stood up and saluted. He is currently feeling a bit weak. Not only his father Su Kai, but also his mother Cui Shi, visited Su Lu this time. The Su family did not hope for Ding, and each generation only gave birth to one son. In his generation, it has been passed down to 9 generations, so Su Kai loves Su Lu very much. Su Lu always feels like a template for the protagonist, a 9th generation solo, and looks like the protagonist no matter what. My son, you finally woke up, but you're worried about becoming a father. Su Kai patted his chest and said. Cui Shi said gently on the side, Lure, I have made chicken soup for you. You can drink it to nourish your body. Okay, mother. Su Lu could feel Cui's concern for himself. After drinking chicken soup, Su Lu said to Su Kai and Cui Shi, Father, Mother, I'm almost done. I should probably be able to get out of bed tomorrow. Cui said, That's really great. I'll have Dr. Jean examine you again. Cui sent a maid to invite Dr. Jean. About 10 minutes later, a middle-aged doctor carrying a medicine box and a goatee came to Su Li's side to diagnose his pulse. He was Dr. Jean. Dr. Jean looked at Cui's concerned face and said, Madam, the young master's pulse is very stable. You only need to rest for a while before you can get out of bed. Upon hearing Dr. Jin's words, Cui breathed a sigh of relief. During this period, Su Lu has been in a coma, which has caused her great concern. At this moment, Su Kai said to Su Lu, Son, after your injury is healed, don't hang out with Wei Delu anymore. When it comes to Wei Delu, he gets angry. If it weren't for him, how could his own son have been unconscious? Okay, father. Su Lu nodded and said. Memories of Wei Delu emerged in his mind, who was his classmate and friend, and a scholar who passed the exam together. After passing the imperial examination as a scholar, the two of them celebrated and took advantage of the darkness to embark on a flower boat. The memory afterwards becomes unclear. That flower boat must be strange. Su Lu is very certain. The name Wei Delu sounds a bit familiar to me, where have I heard of it? Su Lu frowned, a name that made him feel familiar must be a celebrity. Could it be that Wei Delu was a famous minister? Or is it a mythological figure? Su Lu couldn't remember it for the time being and gave up on continuing to imagine, regardless of who he was. I just need to live my own life well. Father, I plan to spend this time at home cultivating myself and writing novels. Su Li Deo. Writing a novel. Su Kai was a bit confused, not knowing why his son suddenly wanted to write a novel. As the saying goes, the 3 immortalities of meritorious service, virtue, and speech. Writing a book is making a statement. But speaking is something that only sages can do. How many saints are there in this world? The general writer, commonly known as a novelist, is just a person of common knowledge. In the Daong dynasty, writing books did not ascend to the level of elegance, unless you were able to establish a sect and become a sage in the world. More scholars still aim to pass the imperial examination, and even if they don't succeed, they will become poets or lyricists. Throughout history, sages have been lonely, but only those who drink keep their names. It is more appropriate for the drinkers here to be poets. Li Bai, who wrote this poem, passed it down to later generations under the title of Poet Immortal. Of course, there is no such person as Li Bai in this world. Please ask my father to help me open a bookstore. Su Lu spoke to Su Kaidao. Okay, being a father will definitely fulfill your wishes. He is also curious about what kind of novels his son will write. Su Lu is also thinking that his golden finger, as a novelist, can embody the techniques and items in novels, so it cannot be wasted. What should the first novel be written about? Su Lu was lost in thought. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. This world is dangerous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. This world is dangerous. Upon hearing that his son was going to write a novel, Su Kai immediately acquired a bookstore and changed its name to Tianxia Bookstore. Su Lu closed himself up, cultivated his body, and understood the culture of the world. Through books, he learned about the history of this world. This world is almost similar to ancient China, with 3 emperors and 5 emperors, Qin Shi Huang, and the Han dynasty. At the end of the Eastern Han dynasty, history turned a corner. At that time, when the Shu Han general Guan Yu was on the brink of death, he comprehended the powerful move, love in the city, and with one move, completely destroyed the Eastern Wu army. Although Guan Yu died, Jingzhou was saved. Later, Liu Bei revived the Han dynasty. Later on, the Han dynasty collapsed and Emperor Daong emerged, taking over the world and becoming the ruler of the world. The current ruler is the Wu Ji who created the prosperous era of Tianyuan. Wu Ji was a legendary emperor. Under his rule, the power of the Daong kingdom reached its peak and created the famous Tianyuan era. Unfortunately, he lived too long, reigning for 52 years and now at the age of 60. As people age, they become foolish and want to live forever, and Wu Ji is no exception. He is now focused on pursuing immortality and neglects court politics, leading to the downfall of the court. This is a world of gods and demons. If the dynasty is at its peak and there is dragon energy to suppress it, demons dare not appear. On the contrary, if the court is corrupt and the national strength declines, it will lead to the emergence of demons and the destruction of life. In the 48th year of the Tianyuan era, a water ghost killed 20 people. In the 49th year of the Tianyuan era, there was a great demon named Black Wind, which devoured hundreds of lives. In the 49th year of the Tianyuan era, a tiger demon caused trouble and hundreds of people died. Looking at these files, Su Lu felt a chilling emotion. The world was too dangerous, and he could easily die. I need to quickly write a novel and acquire my abilities earlier, even if it's just a child's skill. Su Lu is eager to acquire martial arts skills and then cultivate into a martial artist according to them. The warriors in this world are very strong, divided into multiple levels such as acquired, innate, master, great master, and celestial. Their combat power is strong, and some warriors can even defeat immortals. Su Lu hopes to become a warrior with strength comparable to that of a fairy in the future. There is no woodblock printing in this world, which is a bit troublesome. Without woodblock printing, it means that books cannot spread quickly. And books cannot spread quickly. Even if I write a novel, I may not be able to reveal the items inside. Su Lu said with a headache. Su Li's golden finger novelist doesn't mean that by writing a novel, you can reveal the items inside. It has limitations. The wider the dissemination of your novel and the more people you read, the more you can embody the items in the novel. Forget it, I don't want to do that much anymore. I'll just write the novel first. My current cultivation level can only write novels of non-martial or low martial types. This is the conclusion drawn by Su Li's research on Jin Finger. He is now just an ordinary person and can only write novels with no martial arts or low martial arts and low magic. This martial arts novel is a term coined by Su Lu himself, referring to a novel that does not contain extraordinary powers such as internal power, fighting spirit, magic, technology, etc. In Su Li's own definition, technology also belongs to an extraordinary power, as a world with weapons such as firearms, missiles, and atomic bombs is stronger than some low-armed worlds. Therefore, Su Lu cannot write urban novels with a modern background, because urban novels with a modern background contain the extraordinary power of technology. Low martial arts novels are martial arts novels like The Blue Blood Sword. Compared to non-martial arts novels, Su Lu tends to write low martial arts novels. Because the world level of low martial arts novels is higher than that of non-martial arts novels, writing low martial arts novels will display better items than writing non-martial arts novels. Among the most famous low martial arts novels are Liang Yusheng, Jin Yong, Gu Long, Huang Yi, and Wen Ruian. In addition to them, there are also short segments of Cup Wine, Wang Qingchuan's Wild Goose Flying in the Late Moon, and Feng Ji's Kunlun trilogy. Or add Tian Xing Jian. Heroes. The first thing to exclude is Gulong. It's not that Gulong's novels are not well written, but rather that his novels are too modern, heavy on artistic conception, and very colloquial, like prose. Gulong's novels are too advanced, and people in this era may not necessarily buy them. The pace is too fast, and it can lead to trouble. Wen Ruiyan imitated Gulong to some extent, but later he formed his own style and his novels were somewhat trendy, so it is temporarily ruled out. Tianqing Jian. Heroes. Su Lu personally doesn't like it, rule it out. I also quite like the trilogy of Kunlun, which includes many techniques such as the Heavenly Prince's Qi technique. However, the martial arts value of this novel is higher than that of ordinary martial arts novels, and it may be a medium or high martial arts novel, which may not be written now. Su Lu tentatively wrote it and found that his head was a bit sore. He knew that he couldn't write the trilogy of Kunlun for the time being. Liang Daxia's novels are not to Su Li's taste, let's wait for a decision. After all, Liang Daxia's writing style is very classical and very suitable for ancient readers. There is no doubt that Mr. Jin Yong's novels are of the highest quality and influence. In the end, it was discovered that Mr. Jin Yong was stable enough, flying snow-shooting white deer in the sky, laughing at the divine hero leaning on the blue mandarin. So, which work should I write about Mr. Jin Yong? In the end, Su Lu chose The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Because the protagonist of the sculpture, Guo Jing, is upright enough. Although he may seem naive, he is very in line with the values of readers in this era. Ancient readers, unlike modern readers, were not as picky in taste, demanding a non-holy mother, and decisive in killing. If you stare at me, I will kill your whole family. The protagonist Guo Jing is very suitable for readers of this era. As for the protagonists of other golden books, Yang Guo was too rebellious and gave negative reviews, Chen Jialua gave negative reviews to women, Sherbatian was a fool and gave negative reviews, Ling Huchong was careless and indecisive and gave negative reviews, Zhang Wuji was indecisive and gave negative reviews, Wei Xiaobao was slippery-tongued and gave negative reviews. And Di Yun was too miserable and gave negative reviews throughout his life. After calculation, Guo Jing is still the most suitable. Guo Jing belongs to the authentic protagonist of the Xianmen sect. He looks simple and silly, but in reality, he is as wise as a fool. Even if you don't like him, you won't hate him. His martial arts, like his character, may seem ordinary at first glance, but in reality, the older he gets, the more demonic he becomes. In fact, Di Yun is also very suitable. Di Yun's life was very sad. Throughout all of Jin Yong's books, Di Yun is also the saddest protagonist, even the dog bastard Sherpa Tian is much happier than him. Because Lianqing Ju gathers all the evil thoughts of Jin Yong, almost the entire text lacks good people, and the ugliness of human nature is undoubtedly revealed in this book. As a good person, Di Yun was naturally spoiled in such a malicious world. It can be said that from beginning to end, Di Yun's three views have been reshaped, and at the end of the story, it seems to have won the favor of Bai Fumei and Shui Sheng. But is this really the case? Not to mention, did he really fall in love with Shui Sheng? Just saying that he wanted to raise his rival's daughter would probably make him collapse. The rival's daughter kept crying, and he fully expressed his feelings at that time without asking. Probably, he wanted to say one last thing. Damn it. This type of tragic work had a great market in ancient times, such as The Injustice of Do Yi. Do Yi's Injustice is a Yuan dynasty drama and also a literary work. But Su Lu didn't want to write such a tragic novel, he couldn't bear to read it himself. And in Lianqing Ju, only one, Shenjiao Jing, is considered a masterpiece, which is far from The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Be cautious, it's better to choose The Legend of the Condor Heroes. End of this chapter. Is Chapter 4 so ruthless? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is Chapter 4 so ruthless? Su Legong wanted to recall the content of The Legend of the Condor Heroes, and each subtitle appeared in his mind. It's really my golden finger. It's so awesome. The vast Qiantang River flows day and night, endlessly bypassing the Nyojia village in Linen and flowing eastward into the sea. There are dozens of black cypress trees on the riverbank, with their leaves burning red like fire, which is exactly the time of August. The wild grass in front of and behind the village had just turned yellow, and under the slanting sun, it added a touch of desolation. Under two large pine trees, there was a group of villagers, men, women, and a dozen or so children, listening attentively to a thin old man talking. The speaker is in his 50s, and a long blue cloth robe has been washed and faded into a blue-gray color. Writing with a brush is very difficult, and it's even more difficult if it's traditional Chinese characters. But with the help of the novelist's golden finger, Su Lu wrote very quickly. When Su Lu wrote, "The green mountains outside the mountains and the buildings outside the buildings, when will the singing and dancing of West Lake rest?" he suddenly felt blessed to his heart, and a halo flickered in his head. Su Lu was like entering a state of selflessness, meticulously writing The Legend of the Condor Heroes. He stood in front of the stone table, waving a brush with his right hand to write, all at once. His eyes were dazzled and full of energy, shining brilliantly. After a while, his consciousness slightly regained consciousness and he sensed something was wrong. What was wrong with me just now? He felt something was very wrong. Just now, he seemed to write very smoothly, as if he had received divine assistance. Su Lu could feel that as soon as he thought about it, the entire content of The Legend of the Condor Heroes would be presented in his mind word for word. This is a wonderful feeling that can only be understood, not expressed in words. The strokes are full of flowers, and the strokes are as if they were divine. Su Lu was somewhat surprised and said, "Have I truly grasped the essence of culture?" Su Lu said thoughtfully. Readers in this world attack by comprehending the literary spirit and borrowing the noble and righteous energy between heaven and earth. A literati who comprehends literary style dare not be invaded by ordinary demons. If one comprehends the spirit of writing and the courage of writing, they can even turn the world into a prison and sow beans to become a soldier, which is very terrifying. In such a mythological world, whether it is human, demon, Confucian, warrior, or immortal, they are all extremely powerful, and no one dares to say who stabilizes them. A immortal descended from the mortal realm and was killed by the martial saint using the heavenly divine palm. The prototype of the martial saint in this book is Lu Daxia from the heavenly immortal Pi. He learned the thunderbolt divine palm, and has now been changed to splitting the heavenly divine palm, which fictionalizes the world and is so capricious. There is a powerful warrior who was drained of yang energy by a little ghost and died. There is a powerful demon that was killed by a Taoist using the 5 thunder curse. This world is very dangerous. One object can bring down another. Monsters can kill warriors, warriors can kill immortals, and immortals can suppress demons in this dangerous world. Su Lu feels a sense of urgency in his heart. He wants to quickly write the novel and let more people see it, so that he can display treasures and martial arts, and improve his self-protection ability. Su Kai walked into the house and saw Su Lu writing over there. He always felt that Su Lu had changed, becoming more majestic than before. He just stood there writing, but it made people dare not underestimate him. It's strange. I haven't seen you for 2 days. How could there be such a big change in Lure's body? But this is also a good thing. Lure, I have already acquired the bookstore. When will your novel be completed? After Su Kai established Tianxia Bookstore, he also annexed several nearby bookstores, and now Tianxia Bookstore has become the first bookstore in Sanxing City. So fast. Su Lu was somewhat surprised. My father's work efficiency is too fast. That's right, my father is the richest person in Sanxing City. He uses money directly to start his own business, which naturally leads to faster efficiency in handling affairs. Su Lu was even more grateful that he had been reborn into this family. Father, I have finished writing it. I'll let you take a look later. Su Lideo. His father Su Kai used to be a child, literate, and had a certain level of appreciation ability. Okay, let me see how you write it. Su Kai is equally curious about the novels written by Su Lu. What novel did Luo actually write? Is it a romantic storybook? In this era, romance books are popular, mostly stories of poor scholars and wealthy ladies. Because those who write such stories are all poor scholars, they naturally aspire to marry by Fume and reach the pinnacle of their lives. Su Kai started reading while holding the manuscript. At the beginning of The Legend of the Condor Heroes, it was said that Qiu Chuji, a member of the Chuanjin sect, was chased by the officers and soldiers for killing the traitor Wang Daoqian. He fled to a small village in Jiangnan called Nujiazhuang and became acquainted with the patriotic and righteous figures Guo Xiaotian and Yang Tiexin who lived in seclusion here. Qiu Chuji named their soon-to-be-born child Jing and Kong, and left a pair of short swords as tokens. It's a bit interesting. Su Kai has been attracted by this story. If modern people read The Legend of the Condor Heroes, they may find the beginning verbose, but in the eyes of ancient people, it is still very novel. Su Kai continues to watch, and the following plot is about Guo Xiaotian being killed to cover up for Yang Tiexin, who is seriously injured while protecting his sister. In law and separated from his wife and children. This paragraph is written with great enthusiasm, which may have become commonplace for future readers, but Su Kai's blood boiled as he read it. This is called Big Husband. Su Kai genuinely recognizes the loyalty and righteousness of Guo Xiaotian and Yang Tiexin. The ancient people were basically very simple and did not have much belief in the value of man is not for himself, the heavens and the earth perish. They sincerely admire the loyal and courageous iron-blooded men. Su Kai felt a surge of pride upon reading this, while also feeling a sense of sadness for the characters in the book. The wives of the two martyrs both survived and were each pregnant, which left readers eagerly anticipating. What will happen to these two children in the future? Will they meet? Su Kai is eager to know the plot below. But it's gone. The plot ends here. Su Kai understood the meaning of the 3 words, broken chapter dog. His heart was like being tickled, eager to know the next plot. That son, can you speed up a bit? I think this novel is very good. Su Kai looked at Su Lu with eager eyes. Su Lu said helplessly, Father, I have already written 10,000 words a day. He used to fish for 3 days and dry his net for 2 days in his past life. How could he be so diligent like now? If it weren't for acquiring some skills and saving his own life, he wouldn't have worked so hard on writing books. Anyway, you don't have much to do every day, why don't you just write novels at home? Writing a novel is like plowing a cow's field. If someone is whipped at the back, they become diligent. Su Kai Dao. Su Lu, Father, are you so ruthless? Su Lu looked pitifully at Su Kai. Just a joke, liven up the atmosphere. How could I be willing to slap you? At most, I won't let you sleep in. When it's early in the morning, I'll splash you up with water. Su Kai stared at Su Lideo. Well, Father, I will definitely work hard to write a book. Su Lideo, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Reading, I'm in a daze. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Reading, I'm in a daze. The Tianxia bookstore has officially opened. The crackling sound of firecrackers echoed at the entrance of the Tianxia bookstore, which also attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Su Lu, dressed in a blue long shirt, looked clear and handsome. He looked at the passers-by around him and said, Today is the day when the world's bookstore opens. You can enter and try it out for free. I am not talented. I have written a book called The Legend of the Condor Heroes. You can appreciate it and give me some suggestions. Su Li's speech caught the attention of many people. Su Lu is a celebrity in Sanxing City. He is the son of the richest man and a scholar. He comes from a wealthy and talented family, and has a very high popularity. Isn't that Mr. Shou? Where does he write novels? A good scholar who doesn't do anything important, what kind of novel should he write? Neglecting one's profession. Many Confucian scholars around discussed that in their minds, as scholars, the main goals should be strategy theory and imperial examinations, rather than writing any novels. Only those who can't get by with reading will write some romance books. Jinshan Bookstore. Is this the library opened by Su Lu? The World Library is such a big name. After Wei Delu entered the library, the clerk immediately approached and said, "Young Master Wei, do you want to buy a book?" The shop assistant knows Wei Delu, and this young master is good friends with his own young master. Two people went to the flower boat together, and then returned from a serious illness together. Let me take a quick look first. Wei Delu observed the layout around him. The Jinshan bookstore is very spacious, with many books on the shelves. In this era, woodblock printing had not yet been invented, and every book had to be manually transcribed, which was time-consuming and laborious, so books were very precious. After browsing some classic books of Taoism and Moism, Wei Delu became idle. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he discovered a peculiar book. This book surprisingly emits a faint light. He certainly knew what this faint light was, and it was a manifestation of understanding cultural energy. Oh my goodness! Could it be that my friend has already grasped the essence of culture? Wei Delu's heart was filled with disbelief. Legend of the Condor Heroes. Wei Delu saw a few words on the cover. Su Leju. He saw 3 more words. Is this the novel written by Lei? Wei Delu became even more curious. He looked at the price of this book and couldn't help but be surprised. It's quite cheap. The price of this book is only 10 won. This price is definitely very cheap, and manual copying of books is very expensive now. The vast Qiantang River flows day and night, endlessly bypassing the Nyojia village in Linen and flowing eastward into the sea. There are dozens of black cypress trees on the riverbank, with their leaves burning red like fire. It is the time of August. The beginning attracted Wei Delu. This book is very distinctive in terms of writing, with unique features. The language is simple, fluent, flexible and vivid, without any difficult to recognize words, difficult to understand words, and difficult sentences. The language has strong action and is extremely good at constructing dramatic scenes, with a sense of speed that makes readers forget or ignore the text. At the beginning, Zhang Shiwu's storytelling freely combines the narrator, listener, and reader, allowing the author to enter and exit freely. With a vivid and realistic sense of presence, it satisfies the reader's desire to clarify the background and awakens the hidden character images in the reader's mind. Well written. When does the West Lake stop singing and dancing? Is this written by my friend? Because the world has been turning since the Han Dynasty, this poem did not come out, which became the original work of Su Lu. After reading it, Wei Delu deeply felt the same feeling. The current emperor, when he was young, was very wise and created the prosperous era of Tianyuan. But in his later years, he indulged in pleasure and caused the people to struggle. Under his influence, the entire country was also addicted to play. Scholars often went to brothels, earning the nickname being vulgar and elegant, but in reality, it was the green mountains outside the mountains and the buildings outside the buildings. When does the West Lake song and dance stop? It was truly a hit in the head. Keep reading. Second time, Jiangnan 7 Monsters. This title left Wei Delu puzzled. What are the 7 monsters of Jiangnan? He soon found out what the 7 monsters in Jiangnan were. These were 7 people. He continued reading The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Qiu Chuji said, "Okay, I'll take a sip of wine to each of the 7. Everyone, after drinking, please reach out." With a sinking of his right hand, he lowered the copper jar and took a big sip of wine from it, shouting, "Please." With a tremble of his hand, the copper cylinder flew towards Zhang Yashing again. Zhang Yashing thought to himself, if I had raised the copper cylinder above my head like before, how could I drink alcohol? He immediately took 2 steps back, blocking his chest with both hands. When the copper cylinder flew over, his hands turned outward and it hit his chest. He was born obese, with a chest full of fat, like a soft cushion supporting the copper cylinder. Then, with luck, his chest muscles popped out, blocking the incoming momentum of the copper cylinder. He wrapped his hands around it and hugged it tightly. He lowered his head and drank a big sip of wine in the cylinder, praising it, good wine. Suddenly retracting his hands and pressing them against his chest, the copper cylinder had not yet fallen. It was already a move of moving the mountain with both palms, pushing the copper cylinder out forcefully. This move is both powerful and quick to change, thanks to the superb skills of outsiders. Wan Yen Honglai watched from the side, feeling secretly shocked. Wow, it's so exciting. It's so beautiful. I never expected my brother to have such skills. Wei Delu read the highlights and slammed his thigh with a very excited expression. His actions also caught the attention of others. Wei Delu, like Su Lu, came from a wealthy family and was also a scholar, with little popularity in the local area. Isn't that Wei Delu? Why is he so excited? What is he looking at? Other Confucian scholars looked curiously at Wei Delu. The shop assistant approached Wei Delu with concern and said, Wei Gongzi, is there anything I need? Wei Delu didn't even look up and waved his hand, saying, I'm fine, I'm just addicted to reading. Wei Delu's words completely ignited the curiosity of the Confucian scholars around him. What book has such great appeal? What book can make Wei Xiuzai addicted? Several Confucian scholars coincidentally walked up to Wei Delu's side, and their arrival did not catch Wei Delu's attention. He was completely immersed in his own world. Several Confucian scholars around were dumbfounded. Is this one in a daze? Seeing Wei Delu's appearance, they became even more curious about the books he read. He wanted to see what books could captivate Wei Delu like this. The Legend of the Condor Heroes. They saw the name of the book that Wei Delu was reading. Isn't this the book written by Su Lu? Is this book really so beautiful? Wei Delu couldn't have been hired by Su Lu, could he? They looked at Wei Delu with suspicion. They all knew the relationship between Wei Delu and Su Lu. These two were classmates and friends, and their relationship was very close. It was not impossible for Wei Delu to entrust Su Lu. Oh, I want to see what's magical about this book, how it can captivate a scholar. In my heart, I will never be addicted to it. A few Confucian scholars swear with unwavering determination. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Attraction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Attraction. Wei Delu was completely attracted to The Legend of the Condor Heroes and became addicted to it. He was completely unaware of the conversations of the people around him. The third episode of Desert Sandstorm. At this point, the first 2 rounds have basically completed the groundwork, and in this round, many things have unfolded with a bang. After learning about the murder of 2 families, Qiu Chuji pursued the culprits all the way and had a misunderstanding with the 7 monsters of Jiangnan. Both sides made a bet to search for the descendants of Yang and Gua and teach them martial arts, and to compete in the drunken immortal tower 18 years later. The 7 strange creatures of Jiangnan have a strong sense of righteousness, and they solemnly agree to their promises. Li Ping and her son lived in the desert. When Guojing was 6 years old, he sacrificed his life to save Jebei and met Mongolian soldiers. Tai Mu truly loved and cherished Jebei's divine bravery, appreciated Guojing's loyalty and righteousness, and brought the 2 back to the tribe. Time flies, Guojing is already 6 years old. He was appreciated by Temujin and had already gained some fame on the grassland. In addition, Guojing also studied archery with the divine archer Jebei. As the plot progressed, Wei Delu was completely drawn to The Legend of the Condor Heroes. It's so beautiful. Wei Delu was very curious about Guo Jing's future and wanted to know what kind of person Guo Jing would become in the future. Will he win the martial arts competition in 18 years? It was almost noon when Wei Delu finally patted his leg and said, "Predict what will happen next, and let's listen to the next breakdown." Is that all? Wei Delu had a feeling of disappointment, and he was eager to know the plot development that followed. He questioned the salesperson, "Why not, what about the next volume?" Indeed, he was stunned. The salesperson knew that Wei Delu was stunned when he saw this expression on his face. "My young master has only written this book. If you want to read the next book, you will have to wait for a week. Zhou, Yu, and Nian have already been born in this world." The salesperson explained that he felt really tired. Upon hearing his colleague's words, Wei Delu's face was filled with disappointment. Looking at the book in his hand, he suddenly felt that only reading it once was not satisfying. He should take it home and read it a few more times. So he said to his colleague, "I bought this book." "Sure, just 10 yuan will do." The salesperson looked at the other Confucian scholars in the store again. The few people who had just made a vow that they would not be addicted to were constantly changing their expressions, occasionally frowning and feeling happy. It was clear that they were attracted by the plot in the book. He feels very funny. The next day, Su Lu woke up. "You have obtained several bows and arrows. You have obtained 100 taels of silver. You have obtained the divine arrow technique." This is all manifested by Su Lu from the novel. Su Lu was very frustrated when he read it, "But you showed me some techniques so that I could become stronger." After feeling depressed, he began to calculate his gains again. Several bows and arrows can defend oneself. 100 taels of silver, which is not a small amount, can be used as pocket money. This divine archery technique should come from the arrow god Zhebi. After Su Lu integrated the divine archery technique, many techniques related to archery were integrated into his mind. Su Lu is confident that he can bow and shoot a goose. It can also be considered a good harvest, giving him a certain degree of self-protection ability. The next morning, Wei Delu arrived at the World Library, and wanted to see if the second volume of The Legend of the Condor Heroes had arrived. But when he walked into the Jinshan bookstore, he was completely stunned because several people had already gathered there to watch The Legend of the Condor Heroes. These people watched with relish, sometimes furrowing their brows and sometimes howling upwards, ignoring the strange gazes of those around them. The shop assistant looked at these people dumbfounded and said, "Are these people also mesmerized? What's really good about that book?" A few people watched and discussed, and the atmosphere was very lively. In no time, a few people became acquainted. "This book, The Legend of the Condor Heroes, is really beautiful. I used to read the Love Picture book and thought it was very beautiful. Now after reading The Legend of the Carving Hero, I really want to roast about what I used to see. A magnificent masterpiece, portrayed too realistically and immersive, as if living in The Legend of the Condor Heroes. I am particularly looking forward to the plot development of this novel, the two of them competing in martial arts in 18 years, and also hoping that Guo Jing can become stronger as soon as possible." The lame Chu San who went to the palace to steal paintings, real people don't show up. The ancients said that beauty is a disaster, but I will not be deceived. Bao Shiroa is such a person. Just after her husband died, she was with someone of unknown origin. It is shameless. I can't say that. What can a weak woman do in a chaotic world? Chaos is like a copper furnace, and all living beings suffer. Be merciful to the weak, as her name suggests. She is very weak. She has been kind since childhood. Whenever she sees injured sparrows, pheasants, even insects and ants, she must take them home and feed them properly until they are healed, and then put them back into the field. If they are not cured well, they will be unhappy all day. It's a pity that this time she has pitted the people who should not be pitted. We cannot blame Bao Shiwei for being weak, having a broken family, having no relatives, and being pregnant. We thought our husband had died, and Hong Lai was also a life-saving benefactor, so we went north together, helpless. Bao Shirua, don't talk about her anymore. This woman is hopeless, it's just a disaster for her beauty. She has a dagger in her hand, why don't she blade her enemy with her hand? And then what? After killing Wanyan Hong Lai, she is a wealthy young lady who doesn't know any skills. How should she survive? Guo Jing has learned archery, is it because he wants to dominate the world in the future? It's possible, after all, this book is called The Legend of the Condor Heroes. 18 years later, in the martial arts competition in Jiaxing, will Guo Jing win? I really want to know the story plot below. The discussion among several readers was very lively. Several Confucian scholars around heard Wei Delu and his group discussing and sneered. As a scholar, you lack ambition and indulge in novels all day long. It's sad. Wei Delu and his companions all had angry eyes. When they were reading, they couldn't help but regard themselves as the protagonists in the story. They had already loved the book to the fullest. Now, hearing this person say so, how could they not be angry? If you have read that book, you may be even more addicted than us. Wei Delu retorted and sneered. How could it be that I am devoted to pursuing the path of sages and sages? How could I be like you, captivated by novels full of absurd words? The person sneered. Why don't you try reading it? Wei Delu said. Just give it a try. That person is still very disdainful. Funny, do you think I'll be captivated by these crooked ways like you are? I read books of sages and articles of sages, and have long developed a literary mind that is not influenced by external factors. Why not take a look? This person is very confident and doesn't believe he will be captivated by the legend of the Condor Heroes. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. A Fairy Falls from the Sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. A Fairy Falls from the Sky. Oh, I won't get addicted to it. This Confucian scholar is very confident in his teachings. The Confucian scholar began to observe with a critical eye. The first 2 chapters of The Legend of the Condor Heroes are about. At the end of a year during the Southern Song dynasty, Zhongliang's descendants Guo Shaotian and Yang Tixin, who were living in seclusion in Nyojia village on the outskirts of Linen, were tragically killed by the Southern Song government, who colluded with Prince Wanyan Honglai of the Jin dynasty. Guo's wife Li Ping and Yang's wife Bao Ziweek, who were already pregnant, also went missing. The bad news came, and Guo and Yang's friend, Chuanzhen Taoist Qiu Chuji, was furious and pursued the killers of Guo and Yang. He missed his lost friends and family and wandered around Linen to inquire, but to no avail. Then, due to being deceived by the treacherous Duan Tianda, they clashed with the 7 monsters of Jiangnan in Jiaxing, causing both sides to suffer losses. The first 2 episodes are a prelude, and the 3rd episode directly disperses this prelude into a small climax. The 3rd episode of Desert Sandstorm talks about. After learning about the murder of 2 families, Qiu Chuji pursued the culprits all the way and had a misunderstanding with the 7 monsters of Jiangnan. Both sides made a bet to search for the descendants of Yang and Guo and teach them martial arts, and to compete in the drunken immortal tower 18 years later. The 7 strange creatures of Jiangnan have a strong sense of righteousness, and they solemnly agree to their promises. Li Ping and her son lived in the desert. When Guo Jing was 6 years old, he sacrificed his life to save Zhebei and met Mongolian soldiers. Tai Mu truly loved and cherished Zhebei's divine bravery, appreciated Guo Jing's loyalty and righteousness, and brought the 2 back to the tribe. From then on, Guo Jing followed Zhebei to learn archery and became brothers with Tai Mu Zhen's young son Tuolei. Looking at the Confucian scholars who sometimes sighed and patted their chests, Wei Delu and others showed a clear expression. They had also come this way before. The Confucian scholar woke up and happened to see other Confucian scholars brushing their brush towards him. His face turned red and he wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl in. I promised not to be addicted, but ended up watching so engrossed, This Confucian scholar felt embarrassed to stay here, so he ran away in despair. On the way back, he was still immersed in the story plot. 18 years later, in the martial arts competition in Jiaxing, who wins and who loses? Will Guo Jing sweep the world? Is Bao Zai Week giving birth to a boy or a girl? It's so attractive. Haha. Watching the Confucian scholar flee in despair, Wei Delu and others burst into laughter. With the passage of time, the book, The Legend of the Condor Heroes, has sparked widespread discussion in Sanxing City. Some people believe that this book is extremely beautiful, while others believe that it is not considered a masterpiece. The more controversies there were, the more popular this book became, until it later spread throughout the entire Sanxing City. Sanxing City, in the county seat. This book, The Legend of the Condor Heroes, is very popular, with a fantastic imagination and a rich writing style, making people feel as if they are experiencing it firsthand. The Song dynasty in it is very similar to our Great Yong. The speaker was none other than Shi Kai, the county magistrate of Sanxing. Sitting opposite him is a middle-aged man in a Confucian robe, Qin Ming. Qin Ming's background is not small. He had already mastered the essence of Confucian classics when he was young, and had the ambition of generously benefiting the world. In the 8th year of the Tianyuan era, he ranked 97th in the imperial examination and became a jinshi from the Hanru position. He was appointed as the military officer and assistant officer of the Guanda army, in charge of litigation, prison, and case matters, and held the 9th rank of official position. Later, he was promoted all the way and became the deputy prime minister. Recently, he presented the 100 officials map to the emperor due to his dissatisfaction with the prime minister's control of the court, cultivation of party members, appointment of confidants, and sharp criticism of the prime minister's personnel system. Persuade the emperor to establish systems and personally oversee the promotion of officials. The prime minister refused to be outdone and ridiculed him for being pedantic, slandering him for exceeding his official duties, colluding with friends, and alienating monarchs and ministers. He continued 4 chapters, criticizing the prime minister for being cunning, and was subsequently dismissed due to his fierce rhetoric. Returning to his hometown, he was depressed and saw The Legend of the Condor Heroes, in which the green mountains outside the mountains and the buildings outside the buildings, and when will the singing and dancing of West Lake stop, resonated with him. In the evening, Su Lu, who had dinner with his parents, returned to his room. "Young master, the bath water is ready. You still have to write a novel tonight. Let the maidservant serve you while you take a bath." The maid Xiaotsue, who was waiting in the room, respectfully said with a hint of blush on her face when she saw Su Lu returning. Su Lu did not refuse, he still quite enjoys this corrosive life. The two of them came to the bathroom, one in front and one behind. A wooden bucket filled with warm shower water was placed in the room, and Xiaotsue skillfully took off Su Li's clothes. In a moment, Su Lu had already stripped off, his slightly lean body covered in streamlined muscles, looking full of explosive power and masculine beauty. Besides writing novels, he has also been exercising during this period, and he doesn't want to die suddenly again. Standing next to her, Xiaotsue blushed and glanced at her intentionally or unintentionally. As a young girl of 15 or 16 years old, it was during her youthful and naive years that she gained some understanding of the affairs of men and women. Unknown to this, Su Lu stepped into the bucket, and Xiaotsue, who had adjusted her mind, stepped forward. Her tender hands began to massage him, and Su Lu closed her eyes slightly. What a corrupt life! Su Lu is very satisfied with his current life. Although there are no mobile phones or various entertainment facilities now, there is also no pressure. Su Lu feels that life is quite good now. Encoding characters is also voluntary, as it can lead to substantial returns. Moreover, it's a bit exciting to think about the possibility of longevity in this world. Xiaocui, you go out and wait, I'll wash it myself. Su Lu said to Xiaocui. Okay, young master. Xiaocui said respectfully. Over Sanxing City, a light and shadow flickered rapidly like a shooting star. What is that? Is it a meteor? Is that the direction of the Su family? It's so bright. The residents of Sanxing lifted their heads and looked into the air, one by one surprised and inexplicable. In addition, County Lord Shikai was also startled, his official seal shining brightly, and strands of official aura suppressing the four directions. Qin Lao, what is that? Shikai looked curiously at Qin Ming. He knew that Qin Lao was powerful. Qin Lao was a great scholar of the time, and he had already condensed his literary spirit and courage. He could turn the world into a prison and spread beans to become a soldier. That's banishing immortals to the lower realm. Qin Ming is very calm in his way. This world is becoming increasingly unstable. This instability is not only reflected in the court, but also in the immortal realm. In recent years, there have been numerous exiles of immortals to the lower world. Exile immortals. Shikai was shocked and pale. This is a true immortal, although he was demoted to the lower world, his strength is also remarkable. With a loud bang, Su Li's roof was directly destroyed, with sawdust flying everywhere. Su Lu, who was taking a bath with his eyes closed, was startled. Is this an earthquake? Why am I so unlucky? I just crossed over and died again. Just as Su Lu was lost in thought, a figure fell into his arms. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Magu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Magu. Su Lu stared blankly at the woman in front of him. This woman is very beautiful, with exquisite and unparalleled facial features. Her eyes are like autumn water, and her eyebrows are like distant dye. She was dressed in a blue dress, with fluttering satin sleeves and 3,000 green threads hanging down. She was black and smooth, and her pretty face was as white as jade. Her skin was like condensed fat, shining with a crystal-clear luster. The temperament on her body is as ethereal as a fairy, like a fairy from the 9 heavens, making it unbearable to blaspheme. How beautiful! Su Lu was stunned. In the modern world, there are many beautiful women who claim to be once in 5,000 years, but they are still much different from the one in front of them. The woman in front of me carries a fairy aura. Su Lu woke up from his stagnant state and realized that his hand was still in an inappropriate position. Ah! A different scream came out. Magu was stunned. Why am I so unlucky? Just being kicked out of the immortal realm is enough. Upon arriving in the human world, he was immediately subjected to disrespect. Young master, what happened? Outside the door, Xiaocui asked anxiously. It's okay, it's okay. Su Lu replied. Xiaocui breathed a sigh of relief when she heard Su Li's answer. At this moment, Su Lu was being choked by the woman in front of him in the room. Su Li Dao said, "This fairy, I really didn't mean to. Furthermore, it's not my fault. I took a good shower and you fell into my arms, so I casually touched you." Su Lu feels very aggrieved. What's going on here? I took a good shower myself, and a fairy fell from the sky. This fairy looks quite pleasing to the eye, but her temper is very irritable. Upon hearing Su Li's words, Magu felt that they made sense. We really can't blame the other party for this. If you want to blame it, blame too much platinum. He kicked himself out of the immortal world with just one kick. Magu felt a bit embarrassed. She let go of her hand and looked at Su Lu. When she saw that Su Lu was still a red fruit, her face turned slightly red and she said, "You quickly put on your clothes." Magu's ascension to immortality was accidental, as she ascended to the immortal realm after eating Poria cocos. In the immortal realm, she was in harmony with the other immortals and had never experienced male pleasure and female love, so naturally she had not seen male fruit bodies. Su Lu dared not disobey Magu's orders and quickly put on his clothes. After putting on his clothes, Su Lu looked clear and handsome. He clenched his fist and said to Magu, "I am Su Lu, with the courtesy name Jiefu. Have you yet to ask for your name?" Su Lu knew that the woman in front of him had a complicated background. How could an ordinary woman fall from the sky? Magu saw Su Lu so serious and replied, "My name is Magu, and I am a." Magu hesitated a bit. When she reached the lower world, Tai Bai Jinxing told her not to reveal her identity casually. She is a female hero. Magu casually fabricated an identity for herself. Magu. Su Li's heart was filled with turbulent waves. Others don't know what this name means, don't they? In the mythological world, there is only that fairy named Magu. Magu, also known as the goddess of longevity, is a goddess in Taoist mythology with a wide influence among the people. People have always had enthusiastic expectations for longevity, and the pursuit of longevity is also the main content of Taoism. So, in the Taoist immortal system, the god of longevity is divided into two genders. The male god is the famous Pengzu, while the female god is Magu. The origin of this goddess is very early and the records are also very clear. Legend has it that in the eastern region of China, there was a person surnamed Wang who was knowledgeable and held government positions. Later, he began to cultivate and became a deity. His sister is Magu, very beautiful, and eventually became a fairy. Of course, there are other legends, such as the girl who rose to immortality after taking Poria Cocos. The idiom, vicissitudes of life, was created because of Magu. Wait. Wei Delu. Magu. Su Li's mind flashed with inspiration. Earlier, he felt that the name Wei Delu sounded familiar to him. At that time, he didn't remember it. Now that Magu appeared, he finally remembered the origin of Wei Delu. Wei Delu is the reincarnation of Lu Xing, one of the three stars of fortune, wealth, and longevity. The three stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou are one of the most beloved deities in the hearts of the common people, and only when illuminated by them can there be joy and auspiciousness in the world. The three stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou have a certain sense of justice. In the heavenly court, they are three carefree and unrestrained immortals. When they have free time, they play tricks on the fairy Magu and even steal the immortal wine she uses to celebrate the birthday of the Queen Mother, making her scream with anger. The Queen Mother held a grand birthday banquet, but due to seeing the Nian beast raised by the god of plague, Samsung decided to descend to earth, capture the Nian beast, restore stability to the world, and make contributions to win the favor of the Queen Mother. The Jade Emperor began to arrange folk celebrations for the new year, and as a result, the three stars were even more respected and loved by the people. They also built a magnificent three-star temple for them, praising their merits and virtues, and praising them as the most popular and beloved deities in the mortal world, ranking among the top 10. Samsung felt proud of this, boasting of its immense achievements. From then on, it became arrogant and domineering, making many enemies in the sky, with the god of wealth, the kitchen god, as the leader, particularly displeased with Samsung. In the bustling Sanxing Temple, the three stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou responded to the requests of male and female believers, bestowing blessings, wealth, and longevity on their children. From then on, they were even more worshipped by virtuous men and women, and neglected other immortals. The god of wealth, the kitchen god, was the first to bear the brunt and gradually fell out of favor in the mortal world, leaving no one interested. The two gods were unwilling and decided to participate in the three-star classic in front of the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor knew that the three stars bestowed blessings recklessly in the mortal world, allowing everyone to enjoy a long life and possess supreme blessings. Every household had a prosperous official fortune, and their serious intervention changed the laws of nature. Although they once again defeated the evil plague god and made contributions. However, the Jade Emperor, who was furious with Lingyin, decided to confiscate the 3-star magic, expel immortals, drive them out of the heavenly court, infiltrate the mortal world, and demote them to mortal status. The Jade Emperor punished the lucky star to become a person who will never be blessed, destined to achieve nothing in his lifetime. The longevity star will suffer from illness and death at an early age, while the lucky star, although having official luck in the mortal world, will be destined to have a difficult career and be fooled by petty officials in the officialdom. The 3 stars of Fu, Lu, and Shou did not expect the Jade Emperor to impose such severe punishment on them. They immediately regretted their actions. Tai Bai Jinxing felt sympathy for the 3 stars, but was powerless to help. From then on, the immortal class expelled the 3 stars of fortune, wealth, and longevity, and the world lost its 3 auspicious stars. From then on, the world was filled with 3 disasters and 6 calamities, and the god of plague was once again eager to turn the world upside down in revenge for being defeated twice by the 3 stars. Tai Bai Venus is very concerned about the current situation, as Sanxing cannot become a deity and is forced to become a very problematic person in the mortal world. Tai Bai Jinxing is deeply afraid that the 3 stars will sink in the mortal world and cannot become immortals again. The mortal world will forever be shrouded in the shadow of the god of plague. Tai Bai Jinxing could only secretly seek help from Magu, asking her to disguise herself and descend to the mortal world, secretly assisting Sanxing in cultivating goodness, so that they can quickly accumulate certain good fruits and virtues, so as to return to the immortal class as soon as possible. Magu has always disliked the sweet-tongued lucky star, and of course refused to lend a hand to save her. Tai Bai Jinxing cleverly used various tactics, luring and intimidating, and finally obtained Magu's approval, urging her to quickly descend to the mortal world to save her. 3 stars were born together by chance in a dilapidated 3-star temple. The 3 of them became friends from a young age. Although they faced difficulties together, it was a pity that they never shared happiness because they were both punished exiles. The purpose of Magu's lower realm is to bring Sanxing back to the throne and the heavenly court. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Magu becomes my guard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Magu becomes my guard. Sanxing reincarnated into 3 people. Fuxing was reincarnated into a single-parent family with many problems, named Wu Fuqi. He lost his virginity from a young age and grew up under the guidance of his shrewd and charming stepmother, Jiao Shi. He was a lazy street thug who not only helped Jiao Shi take care of flower stalls, but also helped people get their visas. He even worked in brothels and was very unproductive. He was only interested in making money and wandering around. However, he was also very unlucky and easily offended the government. County official Shi Kai especially liked to trouble him, causing Wu Fuqi to frequently break the law and enter and exit the prison. And he is still a person without any sexual, ear, or oral blessings, so bad luck always follows him. Shouxing was reincarnated in the Mei family and named Mei Shouchuan. He was weak and sickly from a young age, and was easily injured. He was a problem figure in the Mei family. Due to his frequent suffering from illness, he had long been accustomed to seeing people die and was very melancholic. Lu Xing became Wei Delu, and his family environment was good. However, his parents had been working hard to make him study poetry and achieve fame. Unfortunately, he was too arrogant and self-loving, and liked to criticize others recklessly, which offended the examiners in the examination room. No wonder my city is called Sanxing. Su Lu understood everything, because this city is the nirvana of Sanxing. Initially, Sanxing defeated Nian Beast here, but now Sanxing is reincarnated and will return to the heavenly court here. Magu was a bit strange, and the person in front of her seemed foolish when she heard her name. She said, "Have you ever heard of me?" Su Lu reacted and said, "Miss is beautiful and immortal. Although I haven't heard of her name before, I guess she must be a world-renowned female hero." Magu felt a bit embarrassed about being praised. "You are quite discerning," Magu said. Looking at Magu's expression, Su Lu felt a bit amused. Even fairies like to be praised. Nvexia, I wonder why you came to my Sanxing City. Su Lu pretended not to know and asked. He certainly knows the purpose of Magu's visit, but he won't say it. Is this Sanxing City? Magu's whole body trembled. She heard from Tai by Jinshan that the reincarnation of Sanxing is here. When she thought of Tai by Jinshan, she felt a deep hatred. The other person's foot was too heavy, and her buttocks still hurt to this day. Tai by Jinshan asked me to help Sanxing accumulate merits and return to the immortal realm. Such secrecy is something I cannot tell an ordinary person. Magu said to Su Lu, I'm truly sorry that I came to your mansion to pursue and kill a flower picker. What the female hero did was a righteous act, and I admire her to the extreme. How could I blame her? I wonder if the female hero has a place to settle in Sanxing City. Su Optimism looked at Magu. He is thinking about how to trick this female hero into his side. Magu is a legitimate immortal with extraordinary strength. If she were to guard her side, demons and monsters would not dare to approach. Not yet. Magu said sincerely. She was kicked away from the fairy world by Tai by Jinxing, and then fell into the bathtub where Su Lu took a shower. That's it. Su Lu smiled at the corners of his mouth. I want to hire a female hero as my guard. What does the female hero mean? Su Lu looked eagerly at Magu. It has to be said that Magu is really beautiful, with a curvy figure and a layer of immortal aura surrounding her body. This. How can Magu refuse again? Just kidding, how can she be a mortal's guardian as a grand fairy in the immortal court? If this were to spread and be known by her friends in the heavenly court, it would be a disgrace and a great loss. 100 taels of silver per month. Su Lu extended a finger directly. I'm considering. Magu was somewhat moved. Although she is a fairy, she doesn't have much money. The god of wealth often flaunts his gold and silver beside her, and she can only look at it with envy. Now is the mortal world, without money, it is difficult to move forward. She couldn't use magic anymore. When she was in the lower world, she was planted with constraints. If she used magic, her face would grow pockmarks, and she didn't want to become ugly. Seeing that Magu was somewhat moved, Su Lu continued to work hard. As long as the female hero agrees, I am willing to give the girl 200 taels of monthly money. 1 or 2 silver coins are equivalent to 100 won. 200 taels of silver is 20,000 won. This is not a small amount, someone can sell children and women for tens of taels of silver. Magu said, you are so straightforward. If I don't agree, it will be my fault. I'll be your guard for 2 months, but I have a few requests and I hope you can agree. Upon hearing Magu's answer, Su Lu was overjoyed. Nvexia, it's okay to say so. I will fulfill any of your requests. Su Lu was very certain. Firstly, you cannot control my freedom. I can go wherever I want and do whatever I want. You cannot interfere with my freedom of action. Secondly, you cannot tamper with me. Thirdly, you are responsible for my clothing, food, housing, and transportation. Fourthly, I haven't thought of it yet. Let's wait until I think of it. Magu thought to herself, these 4 requirements are very unreasonable. If he doesn't agree, it's okay. Anyway, I don't want to be someone else's guard. Okay, no problem. Su Lu readily agreed. He was very happy and finally turned Magu to his side. This world is very dangerous, with demons, ghosts, and various monsters. If one is not careful, they may die. With Magu sitting by, no monsters dare to approach. Magu's demands are quite small. As a noble fairy, be your guard. What are your requirements for guidance? As for the monthly fee of 200 taels, it's not a big deal. With the novelist's golden finger, Su Lu reveals hundreds of taels of silver every day. As the plot of the novel unfolds, he will receive more silver in the future. If you write Lianqingju, you can even reveal the treasure of Lianqingju. Money is really nothing to him. Su Lu can confidently say, I don't care about money as a person. Seeing Su Lu agreeing so readily, Magu was somewhat stunned. I'm afraid this person is not a fool, is he? Do I agree to such excessive demands? Okay, let's make it a deal then. Starting from today, you will be responsible for my clothing, food, housing, and transportation, and I will guard your safety. Magu said to Su Lu. The reason why she agreed to Su Li's request was twofold. Firstly, because Su Lu was straightforward, and secondly, because she wanted a legal identity. She must have a legal identity to approach the reincarnated person of Sanxing Lu, and Shou. She couldn't walk up to the reincarnation of the three of them and greet them like this. Hello, I am Magu, a fairy from the sky, and I am a colleague from your past life. If that's the case, the three of them would probably treat her like a fool. Moreover, Tai Bai Jinxing instructed her not to reveal her identity and to subtly change the three of them, so that they could reform themselves and return to the immortal realm. From then on, Magu became Su Li's gold medal bodyguard. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. I showcased internal power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. I showcased internal power, female Xia, you can eat now. Su Lu shouted outside. Bring it in. Magu said lightly. Maid Xiaocui, is this treating the young master as a guard and treating oneself as a young master? Xiaocui has a strong opinion of Magu. The young master hired a guard who was paid a lot of money and didn't do anything serious every day. She would just stay in her room and read novels. Young master, too. Take out your young master's airs, why do you treat him like an ancestor? Approaching the room, Su Lu saw Magu munching on melon seeds while watching The Legend of the Condor Heroes. Magu looked up and found that it was already noon. Is time passing so fast? It's already noon all of a sudden. This Legend of the Condor Heroes is also too beautiful. Magu looked reluctantly at the Legend of the Condor Heroes, in her hand, almost finished reading it. Today's dinner was extremely sumptuous, with chicken, duck, fish, and various vegetarian dishes to choose from. Magu lifted the lid and a smell of meat immediately filled the entire room. It smells so good. Magu's index finger twitched and she immediately started eating. She eats quickly, but she looks very elegant. Su Lu saw Magu eating happily and felt a burst of joy in his heart. There is a saying that goes, if you want to keep a woman's heart, you must first let her bleed or satisfy her stomach. Magu is a female immortal with strong strength, making it impossible for her to bleed. Then we need to satisfy her stomach. Magu ate 3 bowls of rice and after finishing, she touched her stomach, feeling very satisfied. I ate too much. If only I could eat so full every day. She felt that the mortal world was even better than the immortal world. The immortal world was too boring, and after the 3 stars descended to the mortal world, only magpies played with her. In the mortal world, not only can one have a full meal every day, but one can also read good novels. She originally wanted Samsung to accumulate good merits and return to the heavenly court as soon as possible, but now she doesn't think so. Why return to the heavenly court so quickly? I want to be carefree in the mortal world. Magu wiped her mouth and said, it's so delicious. Su Lu smiled and said, starting from today, I will make you eat every day. Magu's beautiful eyes were sparkling, and she carefully glanced at Su Lu. You're quite good, you can cook delicious food for me, and you can write novels. I'll cover you up in the future. Magu is still very righteous. Seeing Su Lu pleasing, she prepared to cover her up. If she is not righteous, how could Tai Bai Jinxing seek her help and guide Sanxing back to his position? Upon hearing Magu's words, Su Lu smiled. She worships Magu like an ancestor, isn't it just for her to protect herself? With Magu covering her up, ordinary little monsters, who dares to be reckless? He can develop peacefully and become stronger step by step. You have gained 10 years of internal power. You have gained 10 years of internal power. You have gained 10 years of internal power. Writing The Legend of the Condor Heroes is not without its benefits. During this period, he has gained a lot of internal strength, which can add up to nearly a century. He can be considered a third-rate expert in the martial arts world with a level of internal power. Of course, because he doesn't know any moves and lacks combat experience, he may not even be able to defeat a third-rate expert. Now he is an acquired master. As long as he connects the Ren and Du meridians, he can be promoted to an innate master. At that time, his internal power will become true Qi. The task is heavy and the road is long. After finishing, Su Leffen instructed the maid to tidy up the dishes. Magu continued to watch The Legend of the Condor Heroes. The combat skills in this book are not worth mentioning, but the storyline is still quite good. The Jiangnan 7 monsters inside caught her attention. This Jiangnan 7 monsters is very distinctive in their portrayal. The Horse King God Han Baoju is simply too impressive. Her face is covered in red wine lees particles, and her wine lees nose is large and round, like a red persimmon sticking to her face. She is only 3 feet tall, and her arms are almost 3 feet wide, making her laugh to death. This Horse King God reminded her of her former birthday star. Zhu Tsong, a skilled scholar, is also quite interesting. First, he used the divine thief's skilled hands to steal the silver of Wanyan Honglai. Later, when he was mixing wine, he poured all the wine into a wooden barrel. The leader of the 7 monsters in Jiangnan, Kuzhenxie, is tough and resolute, not inferior to others in every attempt. There is also the butcher Zhang Yasheng, who looks like an iron tower, with a slender figure and all blonde hair weighing heavily. There is also Han Xiaoying, who has a bold personality, beautiful appearance, and wields a Vietnamese sword. Magu actually quite appreciates Han Xiaoying. As both women, she greatly appreciates Han Xiaoying's generosity. It's so beautiful. Magu occasionally sighed. She was completely immersed in the novel, completely forgetting her purpose in the lower world. Young Master Wei has come to see you. Outside the door, there came the voice of the maid Xiaotsue. Immediately after, the door was pushed open and Wei Delu strode in. He saw Su Lu writing and shouted, "Brother Su, I really miss you." As he spoke, he was about to give Su Lu a hug. Su Lu quickly stepped aside, and Wei Delu didn't take it seriously. "Brother Su, you don't know how famous you are now. Now the whole city is circulating your work, The Legend of the Condor Heroes. In addition, County Lord Shikai and Lord Qin Ming also greatly appreciate you, praising your extraordinary talent." Qin Ming, who had served as the deputy prime minister and was still a great scholar of the time, praised Su Li's line, "Outside the mountains, there are green mountains, outside the buildings, and when will the West Lake sing and dance stop," which caused a great sensation in the officialdom. When Wei Delu said these words, he was not only envious, but also happy for his friends. Su Li's performance was very plain. "It sounds pretty good. Wei Delu, do you want to pretend like this?" He casually glanced at the novel on the table, picked it up and read it like a treasure. "Brother Su, is this the next volume of The Legend of the Condor Heroes?" The more he reads, the more surprised he becomes. He has been eagerly waiting these days, eager to know how the plot of this book will develop in the future. Su Lu quickly put away what he had written and said, "I'll show you it after I finish writing it. There's no spoilers right now." Wei Delu felt itchy and wanted to snatch the saved manuscript from Su Li's hand. At that moment, he discovered another person in the room, who was a handsome and energetic young man. He was crossing his legs, smashing melon seeds, and reading a novel. Seeing this young man's behavior, Wei Delu felt a bit unhappy. He pointed to Magu and asked Su Lu, "Brother Su, who is this?" Su Lu glanced at Magu and said, "He is my guard." Upon hearing Su Li's words, Wei Delu walked towards Magu with a displeased expression. With a loud bang, he walked directly to Magu's side and slammed the table, shaking the entire room. "Do you, the guard, understand etiquette? What's the proper way to cross your legs in front of your master? Do you consider yourself the master?" Wei Delu is very domineering towards Magu. Su Lu was dumbfounded when he saw this scene. Do you know who you are facing? End of this chapter.